So like I said, today we're going to review the first 2 weeks of school. If you have a question, please ask. I'm going to go kind of slow just for anybody who wasn't here to know how to use the calculator and to know what's going on. All right, this is called the real number diagram. All numbers in 8th grade math are real. They are either rational or irrational. What's the difference? Does anybody remember? These numbers can be made into fractions and these can't. So basically all you need to know is the irrational ones are your square roots. Write that down. Any square root that isn't perfect. Write that down. Any square root that isn't perfect. Write it down, please. And pi. Those are all your irrational numbers. So if you see a square root, it's probably irrational unless you put it in your calculator and it gives you a whole number, then it's not. Okay? Your rational numbers are your fractions. Your integers are your positive and negative counting numbers. And your whole numbers are just the positive counting numbers. And this chart will help you decide where everything goes if you wrote down what I wrote down. So I'll say it again. Your irrational numbers are your square roots, so this button, but that aren't perfect, and pi. Your rational numbers are your fractions, and then under integer, it's your positive and negative counting numbers like 1 and negative 1, 2 and negative 2. And whole numbers are only the positive counting numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're the numbers you would teach babies. Okay? So this says, place the following numbers in the Venn diagram. So we're going to place these where we think they would go. 24ths, do y'all agree that's a fraction? Yes or no? So is it rational? Yes. But can 24ths simplify to a whole number? Let's go check it out. So everybody get your calculator. Make sure it's on. To put in a fraction, you're going to do alpha y equals. So the green button, and then this top left button, y equals. Then you're going to choose option 1 to put in a fraction. You're going to type in 20 on the top, use the arrow to go to the bottom, and then put in the 4, hit enter. What is 24ths actually? 5. Write that right here. 24ths is actually the number 5. What kind of number is 5 in this chart? It's whole because it is a positive counting number. So 24ths would actually go here because it's actually 5. Does everybody understand why 24ths is whole? Because 24ths is actually the number 5. Are we okay? All right, this next number is a square root. And what did we say about square roots? They're almost always, but we check them in our calculator. So we make sure they're not a whole number. So to put in a square root, everybody's eyes up here, the square root button is in blue right here above this. So you have to hit the blue button first, the second, and then hit the square root. And then that should pop up. Did you find it? Okay, and then we type in 35, hit enter. That is definitely not a perfect number, is it? So where would the square root of 35 go? Irrational. So the square root of 35 is irrational. Okay, so we did those. All right, this next number, the negative square root of 169, like I said, most square roots go here. But you have to check them to see if they're perfect. So everybody go to your calculator, put in negative, which is below the 3, and then hit second square root. I'll go over it again. Remember, square root is right here in blue. So you hit second, the blue button, square root 169. And is that a perfect number? Yes, so it's not irrational. Okay, what is this number? It's not whole because it's not positive. What is it? It's an integer because it's a negative counting number. So the negative square root of 69 would go here because it's actually negative 13. All right, negative 2.5. I have a lot of students who are like, oh, Ms. Castro, that's an integer because it has a negative sign. Is that correct or wrong? What is an integer? A positive or negative? Would you count 2.5? No. So it's not an integer. It is just rational. It can be made into a fraction. Okay? So this can be made into a fraction. It's not a square root. It's not pi, so there's no way it goes there. So anything you don't know where it goes, it's just going to be rational. So negative 2.5 is going to go here. Do y'all have any questions about this diagram? Do y'all understand that these are called subcategories? Like a whole number is a subcategory of an integer because a whole number is an integer. Do y'all see how integers are positive and negative counting numbers? And whole numbers are what? Positive counting numbers. So do y'all see how all whole numbers are integers? It's called a subcategory, okay? All right, now we're going to go to our elementary questions. They are 8th grade questions right now, but we changed them to what? What are we going to change these numbers to? Decimals, and then we're going to make them like a 3rd grade question. So let's talk about how to change these numbers to decimals. Basically, we're just going to use our calculator. How do I put in a fraction? Alpha. And then what? Y equals. So type alpha y equals. Choose option 1 because it's telling me a number over a number. And then I'm going to type in 2/3. So 2/3. If I hit enter, absolutely nothing happens, does it? So what do I hit? Math. This math button right here is going to allow you to change it to a decimal. So you hit math, and then which option says decimal? 2, and then you hit enter, and that's your number. Now, am I going to write all of that? Absolutely not. I'm going to write this as a decimal, but I'm going to make it look like money. So I can either put 66 cents or 67 cents if I was to round correctly. Does it really matter that it's not going to mess me up? So I'm going to put 67 cents. And then now I'm going to put in the square root of 6 in my calculator, and I'm going to change it to a decimal. So again, here's the square root, bless you. And I'm going to do second, the blue button, and then square root, and I'm going to type in 6. And I'm going to make that also look like money. So I'm either going to write $2.44 or $2.45 if I round, so $2.45. It doesn't matter if you round incorrectly, you're going to get the same answer. Now, this question is asking, which of the following would make the inequality true? They're just asking, what number would fit in the middle? What is bigger than 67 cents but smaller than $2.45? To do this, what am I going to have to change all of these to? Decimals. So let's go change 1/3 to a decimal. So again, how do I put in a fraction? Alpha y equals option 1. So I type in 1/3. Now, before you hit math, you have to do what? You got to arrow out. Tab out, yeah. And then you hit math, decimal, enter. How much money is that worth? 33 cents. Would 33 cents fit between these two numbers? No. So do y'all see how this is actually like a 3rd grade question once you turn them into decimals? So no, it wouldn't. Now, it's been a long time since we've done this. How do you change a percent to a decimal? Put it over 100. So you would say, what is 25 over 100? Because percents are based on 100. So if you want, you can just divide, or you can use alpha y equals, it doesn't matter. 25 divided by 100 is how much? 25 cents. Would 25 cents fit in the middle? No, it's too small. Again, how do I change this percent to 100? To a decimal? Put it over 100. What is 70 over 100? How? Oh, that's 70 over 10. 70 over 100 is, how much money is that? 70 cents. Would 70 cents fit between those? Yes, so that's my answer. So I don't even need to look at choice D. Are y'all good with this? Yes or no? We're okay? All right. Now we go to scientific notation. And guys, it's been a long time since we've done these, so I know some of us might have forgotten. If you have forgotten, write this down. Let me wait for some of y'all to get caught up. I see some people still writing. Good? Okay. Right here, when it says scientific notation, write this down if you need to. You're going to go to your calculator to mode SCI. Okay, so find your mode button, which is right here. Push it, and then you will see, so again, mode's right here. And you're going to see SCI right there to the right. And you're just going to arrow over to it and hit enter to where normal is no longer black, SCI is black. Then go to your home screen just by hitting clear. And all you're going to do is type this number in, and then it's going to give you the answer in scientific notation. So I'm going to type in 0 point, and I got to go count these zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So 0 point and then 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 3, 5. And that's your answer. But we don't write the E. What do we write? 10. But not just 10. Times 10 with an exponent of -7. So I write 3.5 times 10 with an exponent of -7. Now, if it wants you to go back to standard notation, then you don't want to be in SCI mode. You want to be in mode normal. So go back to mode normal. Make sure you highlight normal and then hit enter. Now, will it always work? No. So I'm going to teach y'all how to do it by hand as well. This one probably isn't going to work. So if I type in 2.34 times 10, so all I'm doing is typing this in. And then to get up to the exponent, I know I have a few people who were not here at the beginning of the year, so if you need to look now. To get up to the exponent, you're going to push this button right here to push you up. And that will take you up, and then you can type in -6 for the exponent. Did it take that and make it a normal number? No. It should have, but it didn't. So what do? We got to go do it by hand by moving the decimal. So circle the exponent. Let me zoom in. This is going to tell you to move the decimal 6 places. If it's a positive, I move it to the right. If it's a negative, I move it to the left. Since this is a negative, I'm going to take this decimal and move it 6 places to the left. Are we okay? Okay, pay attention. So I take this number, I write it down, and I move this decimal 6 places to the left. Because again, it says a 6 here, and it's a negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is my new decimal. And what goes in the baskets? Zeros. And then I just rewrite my answer. Decimal with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. 2, 3, 4. Can I put a 0 right here in the ones place as well? Yes. Can y'all see in the back? Are there any questions on scientific notation? Okay, and there's no other thing on the back. Now, before I give you your assignment, let me remind you, you're also going to be ordering numbers from least to greatest and greatest to least. When you're expected to order numbers, what do I have to see that you have done? Change them all to decimals. And what do I want you to make it look like? money. So the second decimal place, you need to cut it off right there. So if it's 0.22222, 0.22. Make it look like money, then order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Flip your paper to the back and let's just remind ourselves about negatives real quick. Make a number line. Zeros in the middle. What is going to the right? Positive numbers, yes? So 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna stop there. What's going to the left? Negative. So this is -1, -2, -3. So don't forget, negatives are smaller than positives. They have less value. And the bigger the negative, the least its value, the less the value is. Why? Because you owe more money. The more money you owe, the less money you have. So what's bigger? -10 or -5? What's bigger? -5. Why? Because I owe less money. So -5 is bigger than -10. Do y'all get why? Okay, the more money I owe, the less money I have. I would owe more money here, so it's worth less. Are y'all good with that? Everybody okay? All right, your assignment is on paper today. We are not going to be using Chromebooks for the next week, so don't be getting Chromebooks when you come in. You're going to complete it. It's like 10 to 12 questions, and I'm going to check it for you. Everybody got it? All right.